Welcome to Cooking from the Cave. I'm Chef Pete Trusiak, and today we will be making a decadent but very easy to make flourless chocolate cake, just like you have in the restaurants. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine our chocolate, butter, cream, and espresso. I have my pan heating up on low heat. We don't need to use a double boiler for this, and this is a question we'll get sometimes, is when to use a double boiler, when not to. If you're just melting chocolate by itself, please use a double boiler. But when you're incorporating fat, and we're doing it in two stages, butter as well as cream, and in this pan I've added 1 pound of chocolate. This is semi-sweet chocolate, 2 sticks of butter, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and 1 teaspoon of espresso powder. This is that instant espresso powder you can get. We're going to combine all those 4 ingredients plus 1, and I'm going to eyeball this, but 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And with a good sturdy whisk or a paddle, I'm going to just slowly melt this over, again, low heat, stirring it so that the chocolate, the butter, the cream, everything mixes together. And once it combines evenly, then I'll shut it off and we'll go on to our next step. After about 7 minutes of cooking it over very low heat, our chocolate is nice and melted. It's very smooth. All that butter, that heavy cream, the espresso, vanilla is all mixed in well. At this point I want to turn my heat off, and I'm going to let it sit while I move on to the next stage, which is whipping the eggs. Now the eggs have to be as cold as possible. So I've got them in a mixing bowl already. This is the whole egg, so it's the yolks as well as the whites. And we're going to use our hand blender to whip this up. You could also use a stand mixer if you want. I just want to get that wet towel underneath there to kind of use it as a base so the bowl doesn't rock on me while I'm whipping this up with the hand mixer. And I'm going to start on low, increase my speed once I break all the yolks, and I'm going to do this until this doubles in volume. So you're going to have 8 egg yolks in here, or I'm sorry, 8 eggs in here, so that's going to be about 16 ounces because there's 2 ounces per each large egg. So we're going to double this in volume, so we want to get up to about 32 ounces or a full quart of whipped eggs. So this is going to take you probably a good 5 to 10 minutes whipping this up. If you do this again in a stand mixer, it's going to be the same process, same amount of time. Start on low and work yourself up as high as you can on your mixer. Okay, at this point we've doubled our volume of our eggs, and if necessary, if you're using a hand blender, if you need to tilt the bowl a little bit so that you're getting more air whipped into the actual eggs, that's quite alright. Just whatever you feel comfortable doing, feel free. The more air you can get into those eggs, the larger or the greater the volume it's going to be. Our next step is to prepare the pan for this decadent chocolate cake. And what I found that works, whether it's a small little ramekin or if it's a big springform pan, which is what I'm using here so that I can drop the bottom out when it's all said and done, I'll spray this down on the inside, bottom and sides real well. You can use butter as well, but make sure you do it all around. You go heavy. Put in your parchment paper, and I've cut the parchment paper so it fits same size as the bottom of the pan. Spray that as well, believe it or not, because the last thing you want is you want this cake to come out, looks great, and then you go to peel off that parchment paper and it's stuck to the cake. So that's why we spray it there. Now we're going to fold our eggs into our chocolate. Whenever doing souffles, always think what your lighter ingredient is and what your heavier ingredient is. In this case, the chocolate is obviously the heavier ingredient, not by calories, by actually weight. We're going to pour and we're going to fold this into the chocolate itself. So I'm going to do this in thirds. And what I'm going to show you is a real easy folding method I'm going to go from the back of the pan and I'm going to fold it over. Back of the pan, fold it over, and I'm going to turn this I'm going to turn the pan as I'm doing this. So I'm not moving my hand, I'm just rotating my pan over and over, so I'm not damaging the airiness of the eggs. I don't want to get in here and really stir it up like we're making stew or something. You just want to fold over the chocolate into those eggs, and I'm going to continue this for the second turn and the third turn until all these eggs are folded in to this chocolate. Alright, so while you're folding this in, remember, it will take patience. You'll feel the chocolate get heavier. It's okay, keep moving. Okay, keep folding the eggs into the chocolate. Our eggs and our chocolate mixture are well combined. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into the pan. I'm going to make sure I get all that wonderful, very decadent batter in there. And you can use your spatula to spread this out, but don't put any pressure on it. I don't want you to, with a lot of weight, weigh this down. What I also find to work is if you just smooth it out by shaking it side to side. You get a nice even layer on it now. It's nice and smooth. We're going to go ahead and open the oven up. We're going to bake this in the center rack at 325 for about 25 minutes. And we'll come back and we'll check on it in that time. 25 minutes into it, we're going to check on the cake. And the cake will look very wet, very almost like brownie type consistency. To show the consistency that you're looking for on this flourless cake, you just want it to spring back lightly. It might still look a little glossy or wet on the top. That's fine. That's that brownie consistency we're looking for. The next step is to let it cool down to room temperature. At that point we can put it in our refrigerator, and tomorrow we'll take it out of the mold and we'll show you what happens next.